Okay guys, thanks for joining me back in the garage today. When we last left off, we had our bow blank tillered to 28 inches, pulling 56 pounds. Really pretty good bend that we could tell on the tillering tree. At this point, we're talking about doing all the finishing touches. So most importantly, we need to get our grip fashioned so that we can start putting some arrows through this bow. We're not going to know for sure where we lie with tiller until we know how it reacts when it's shot. So clues that we want to look out for once we have it pretty much finished, and that is it loud? Is it quiet? Is it soft in the hand, or does it have a lot of hand shock? Are we dealing with a limb that literally bucks in the hand upon release? So there's a lot of things yet to work out through tiller. The other last piece of it all is, after we've been shooting it, is it maintaining the tiller that we assigned it? We always got to make sure that as we work through the break-in process, that this bow keeps the right tiller. So tiller checks are going to be frequent. We're going to put a lot of arrows through it so that we can make sure that the finished product is exactly what we're looking for. When it comes to the grip, everybody's kind of got their own plan for what they want to do, be it a bulby type of grip or a straight grip, a shelf, you know, a cutout window, or just a narrowed neck. It's purely personal. For this particular build, guy I'm building it for really wants, or is kind of taken with this style of grip, so I'm going to be emulating that on this particular build. I'm not going to go through the whole process on this. We'll probably spend some deeper information or videos in the future with regard to you know, how to make some of these different grips, different styles, and pros and cons, and etc. One thing I will throw in there is, when I'm cutting out an arrow shelf, I never go beyond midpoint of the limb or the width of the bow. So I'll only cut into the halfway mark and go. So it's never truly center shot, but it's a much more, you know, forgiving when it comes to picking the spine for your arrows. So I'm going to get to work on the grip, and then when we're ready to take our first shots and start tweaking the bow into its finishing stages, we'll pick it back up. I've cut out the sight window right here. Obviously it's going to be just a flat edge that we're going to have to work out, and then do some more rounding work with rasps and etc. But that is the last time a bandsaw is going to touch this bow. In this state right now, he's ready to shoot. So continue to peek and tweak on the limbs and make sure that we hit the tiller that we're after. Here we go. We'll put some arrows through her. All right, guys. A couple things. One, it's a little windy today, so I apologize for any sound effects that are a problem with the wind. I've already put a dozen arrows through this bow, and it's acting like a short bow. It's pretty quick, and it's not really jarring my hand, but it hits stack a little quick because it is such a short bow. I'm gonna put a couple more arrows through here so you can see, but remember that right now we're interested in the bow performance in your hands, not so much with the accuracy. So there's my disclaimer. So here we go. Okay, and I'm shooting about 700 grain arrows. You want to put as heavy an arrow as you can put through this. It kind of helps the tiller start to normalize as you're shooting. So we'll go in and take a measure right quick, see how we're doing, and we'll come back at it. All right, so when we were working on the original tiller, I was starting to point out that this one limb was twisting just a smidge. Nothing that we couldn't handle. And it's starting to become a little more pronounced. So you can kind of see it there, starting to bend like this, starting to favor this side a little bit. So we're going to take some material off of this side here to try and encourage it to bend back this direction, kind of normalize again. And in addition to that, we'll take some width off the tip here. So when we get to thinning these tips, we'll take some of this width off. Now, another side benefit to this is that my top limb has lost a little bit of its positive tiller. So I'm sitting at about a 1/8 inch positive tiller. We probably want that to be, you know, around 3/16 to 1/4 of an inch. So we're going to take some material off the top here, this top limb here, two purposes. Kind of give ourselves just a little more bend so we can get that positive tiller back, and also to get it to start behaving as far as its twist is concerned. Okay guys, so I've put a dozen arrows through this bow now on 4 different occasions, so we're basically, you know, just 4 arrows short of putting 50 shots through it. They add up pretty quickly, you guys, when you're trying to tweak everything out, and I would tell you that you don't want to be logging them too quickly, because the deeper you get into this, the slower the changes come. So at last check, I still got an 1/8 of an inch positive tiller on my top limb. I've taken about this much material off, which really is quite a bit when we start talking about the effect that we're trying to have on this bow. Since we're dealing with a bit of a twist, something I wanted to show you guys is, you know, when you start working out that twist, you know, you got to work the wood in the direction that you're wanting it to move. And so we're not going to baby this thing. We don't want to baby it. You know, tell it how you want it to move, make it move in that direction. So we're going to kind of exercise it here against its twist and try to affect those changes here, and we'll go put another dozen arrows through it. I did remove a little bit of wood here right before I came on or put on the camera. So we're working toward getting that twist out. I'm gonna go put another dozen arrows through her, and we'll see where we end up. All right guys, so here we are. I put a dozen arrows through this bow, came back to a couple more corrections, try and get that twist going. Now, the plane of the glue line, you can see, is kind of at an angle, but that twist, the twist is gone here. So as we start rounding off our limb tips and narrowing them, that aspect of the twist in the limb will become it's a non-issue right now, but it'll basically, after we get our overlays on there, it'll become imperceivable. So got our limb twist out. I am sitting at about 3/16 of an inch of positive tiller. I did put it on the tillering tree and tugged a few times. Nothing major changing there. So here we go. We will then move now to kind of cleaning up all of our edges in the back of the bow, and kind of really approach the finishing line here. All right, so the degree to which you take off the rind of your bamboo is kind of a personal thing, I suppose, but the bamboo itself is really kind of unflattering in its raw state, and so I take all of that off when I'm making my bows. The other thing too is, when it comes to putting an overlay on, You want to make sure that all of that grind is gone. Here again, if you grind it down, you put your epoxy on, you put your overlay on, and you've got rind on the underside of that epoxy, it will never, ever go away. It will be there forever. So, there we go. I'm just going to take this all off the back here. So here's kind of the finished appearance. You can see a little bit of that rind kind of sticks. It can hang around from behind, you know, left over, and you're not really going to get that out too well without really digging into the bamboo, which is okay. When you put your finish on it, it begins to disappear. Here's another streak of it. So there's actually a divot in that back that you don't want to dig down below. So that's just going to be a part of the bow. The staining here, that's just part of a natural bamboo. So in some pieces you get that, and here's kind of the difference. Here is a unworked back, and then the worked back. And it really begins to take on a very glossy, clean appearance in comparison. So there's that. What we're going to do next is start radiusing off these sharp edges. So, okay guys, so I have radiused off the edges along this one side of this lamb, and I'm hoping that I can adequately show the difference. So this edge has been radiused off, and all I've done is work that with a file and the cabinet scraper. So here would be the alternate side. So you can kind of see where it's got a pretty defined line on the belly there, pretty defined line on the back side as well. Hopefully you can see it, yeah. So you can see it, just kind of that boxy look to this edge, whereas this side has a really nice rolled over smooth edge, and that's what we're looking for along the entire length of all the limbs. All right, so guys, there's the kind of rounded limb. That's pretty much the finished shape of the limb based on how we've gone about constructing it. So you can see it's, for a faceted tillering process, it's pretty basically a flat limb. I'm going to show you the other one right quick. I haven't yet taken and radiused off the edges yet, so there's kind of your difference. Again, no sandpaper has hit this bow to this point. It's just files and a scraper. So we'll get the other limb radiused off here. It is going to cost us a little bit of weight. Do our final tillering check, shoot a couple more arrows through it, and then we'll just get on with finishing up the grip and putting on the tip overlays. All right, guys, we've pretty much got this. You know, got a grip in there. Radiused off all the edges. Pretty much to finished dimensions here. All the very last bits of tillering are taken care of, so we're going to see how it behaves in the hand when we shoot it. And up to this point, we've put about 75 arrows through her, so we may do another dozen here and kind of approach 100. Or get close to anyway. It's pretty quiet. There's a little bit of vibration in the would say overall it's feeling really pretty good. It's pretty quiet. A little bit of vibration left at the end of the shot, which will probably be taken care of when we take the tips down. We'll make these. We'll probably take at least a third of the width off of these tips and really take some mass off. All right, guys, just got finished shooting another dozen arrows out of this guy. Maintained its positive tiller, pretty much in its finished state. Felt really good on release. It's very quick, just speed wise on the arrows. So for shooting very heavy arrows, again, those are like 600, 700 grain arrows. At this point, we're gonna go ahead. I'm gonna take you through how to prepare these tips for tip overlays. All right, guys, I'm gonna grind in a flat spot right here for our overlays. I want to make sure that we maintain the integrity of the bamboo through the course of that grind. So we're going to have a nice taper, but there's going to be bamboo extending all the way to the tip of the bow. If we eat into the ipe a little bit down in here, that's okay, but we need to have bamboo extending beyond the string nocks here so that our backing is in fact a part of that pressure being built up or holding the strings on the bow. When we violate the backing strip back beyond the string nocks, it's an opportunity for failure. We're going to keep it just to that. Generally speaking, what I do is I just kind of plant the far tip on the ground here, get a good idea for taper on my bamboo, and we go ahead and just all right, you can see the taper on there extends out to about right here, so it's perfect length to get some an overlay on top, and you can see that the bamboo comes to a knife point just about there. If you're looking at it from this perspective, it's just like a paper thick end left right there. So all right, I have my overlays being glued on right now. You'll see that they are pre-tapered. All right, so kind of like everything that we're doing, try to eliminate a lot of the post stuff that's going to complicate the build. So pre-tapered, epoxied on. So I got it with 5-minute epoxy, but we'll let it cure overnight and come back and put the string grooves in and sand this guy up after we narrow out those tips. I'm going to try and explain how I'm going to go about thinning these the tips down. I've got the tip overlays on, and they're kind of ground down even with the existing sides of the limb. But when it comes time to, you know, working down the width here, I'm going to just kind of I can do it on the sander or even with a rasper file, however I want to do this, and basically take the existing knock and kind of wear it down till it's about half as deep. So we know that the knocks are they haven't changed. We haven't changed with the thickness on one side more than the other. So if we measure or use our knocks as a measuring point, when they're both reduced to about half of their original size, that's when I'll stop. I'll reestablish their depth and then cut across the top here, and then we pretty much wrap up. I have taken one end down, so I'm going to kind of give you here's the before. Hopefully this is in screen because I haven't looked for myself where we're at. There's before. Let me just whack the garage door opener. There's the after. So I did one tip independent of another. Ordinarily I'm fashioning them both at the same time. But here again, here's your differences. Took a lot of mass just even off of the tips here. So we added mass in the form of an overlay, which is like in the absolute worst possible place that we want to add anything. Why we would do it on purpose is up for debate. You see some guys put some pretty ornate things down here. If you're not compensating with removing some other wood, really all you've done is add mass. So I know when I've gone really for some like speed performance types of priorities, I won't even put an overlay on the bow at all. But that's just my style of overlay. I wouldn't say that you know, it's obviously not a one size fits all. Anyway, there you go. That is truthfully it. I'm going to fashion the other tip the same way, and that's going to be the end of this video series, because I think that sanding and finishing, again, there's no real mystery to sanding. If it's a topic I need to cover, or if you have questions, by all means, leave your question or comments down in the comments section. Be awesome if you subscribed. But check out the remainder of the videos. I am gonna put one together that shows how to do the grip. If you guys are interested in that, just my wood removal technique on this particular one, I kind of did it at the same time. So anyway, thanks guys. I appreciate you watching through this series with me, and I've enjoyed going through it.